Quality, service, atmosphere. You're next in the chair. Feel at home in the barbershop. G. Bush offers a fresh cut on sports. The barbershop isn't just grooming for guys. It's culture, it's lifestyle, it's sports. And it's now the barbershop is giving the sports scene a sheer shave and shine. Join the makeover now. Follow Garrett Bush at GBush91 on Twitter.
My aunt came from Virginia area, and she visited from the Virginia area, and she was, an aunt that lived out of town or whatever, and so she really never was around the family too much or whatnot. But every time she would come back, she would always want to see us and say, "Yo," she'd tell my dad and say, "Yo, where's the boys at?" Me and my three brothers, "Where's the boys at?" And my dad would say, they over here. And she would always come visit us and take special trips to come over and hang out with us and to take time with us and just take special time with us to just be around. Because sometimes, we've all had family members who live out of town or whatnot. And, they miss that family time. They miss that opportunity to spend around each other, right? And so, this one summer particularly, I was around, I want to say about, 9 years old. 9 or 10. And, she had came back and at this time I'm living around in the Cleveland area. And so it was a place called Cedar Point. And if you guys were looking at this blog, Cedar Point was something like Six Flags or somewhere or SeaWorld, one of those big amusement parks here in the Ohio area. And so she had came back and said, "Listen, I want you guys to come on and you and your brothers, I want you guys to be a part of this. I want you guys to come on back. I want you guys to hang out. And I want you to come on up me and I'm going to take you guys to Cedar Point." And at the time, I'm about 9 years old, and I'm like, man, I don't know about this. And around 9 years old, you may have been away from your parents a long time, or you haven't been away from your parents for a sustained period of time, and maybe you're a little apprehensive. So the rest of my family members and cousins were a little older than me. So they all was like, "Yeah, that's you crazy? All expenses paid to Cedar Point? I'm on it." But I was a little apprehensive. At the time, my brother was younger than me. He was 3 years younger than me. He was 6. That was a little too young for him to just stray off without my mom and dad. But me, that was my age. That was my bracket. 9 years old. I was old enough to kind of move around. I knew what everything was. I was, experienced enough, got friends and stuff. And so she says, "Yo, come on, let's go." We all get in the car. The rest of my cousins, they had this big van, about 5 or 6 of us. And I get in the car. We start taking off. And all of a sudden, I'm like, "Nah, I don't want to go." She like, "You sure? It's all expenses paid, man. You sure? You positive, bro?" And I'm like, "Man, nah, I'm cool. I'm gonna go back to the house." So she drops me back off at the house, and I get back home, and I'm there for about 25 minutes, and then it dawns on me. What the hell am I doing? All expenses paid to Cedar Point? I'm tripping. I'm losing it right now. I call her. I'm like, maybe they had to go to the gas station. Maybe at this time, there's no cell phones. Maybe I can find them. Nah, long story short, they was already hit the road. Man, I lived with regrets that rest of that summer, man. I thought about all the cool things that I could have did. My aunt came back and all my cousins was hanging out, all kind of cool stuff, the pictures, the stuffed animals, all them experiences they said they had at Cedar Point. And I'm just sitting there like, man, all of that because I was scared, man. All of that because I was scared to get in the car, man. Just as scared to leave my mom and dad. It's a one afternoon. I could have went and had fun and my mom and dad would have still been around here. And at that point in time, it dawned on me, man. You can't live life scared, worried about staying safe and staying home and being comfortable in your little own area. And once again, you had another blog and you say, "G. Bush, what the hell does it got to do with the Cleveland Browns in another blog. If you stayed around, you'll understand. You know, the Cleveland Browns are a young football team, just like I was young back then. They had some growing pains, and they went through some stuff, but they in the middle growth of their youth. At that time, I was about 9 years old. I had my faculties about me. I had been to school. You know, I had friends. I had chores. I had all those things. The Cleveland Browns, in their maturity and where they're at in this long process, they're still young. But still, the Cleveland Browns against the Kansas City Chiefs had some opportunities. And they had some opportunities to do something that was really cool, to experience some things, to go and be out, and to go do something that, you know, you don't have an opportunity to do so often. As a minority living in a community, I didn't understand how rare it was for a kid that looked like me to be able to go to an amusement park and have it all expenses paid. I didn't understand that until 4, 5, 6, 7 years later, and I never was back. I never understood that until I was 16, 17 years old, and still never was at Cedar Point, and still never got an opportunity to have all expenses paid. All of those things, all of those situations, look back on those, and the Cleveland Browns will look back at an opportunity against the Kansas City Chiefs that they had that let slip away. There's moments in that game that they'll learn from. There's moments in those games that they can look back and say, man, I wish I would have went a little harder. I'm sure that Kevin Stefanski would have thought about certain things like, wow, should I challenge the play or should I not challenge that play? I'm sure he would say that the defense should have been playing more aggressively, should have been playing to go all out, not afraid to go outside of your boundaries and scared and talking about what is left. You shouldn't be scared to go outside of your environment. You shouldn't be scared to put faith in your players and say, I'm going to give up plays. I'm going to give up passes. I got to play soft because I'm going to keep everything in front of me. Because the reality is, the situation is, playing scared is going to get you beat regardless. At least you can go out swinging. And for so many times that I've said on these blogs and I try to talk to people and I talk to people about how to go about thinking about certain things, and I just realized that it may be a difference in opinion. It's a difference in a mindset. The way you got to go about thinking about certain things. And for me, and the way the Cleveland Browns have to think about winning, losing, and being aggressive is that you take the opportunities that are given to you, and just like that little kid that I was, you get in the car, even though you might not understand or know your aunt as well as you know your mom and dad. Those are learning and growth experiences. At least I can say that I went. I didn't learn anything from sitting at home. And the Cleveland Browns didn't learn anything about their players on defense by not playing to win. When you look at the other side of the football, there's a mentality that champions have. And I know that I did a lot of extra stuff. And I did a lot of talking about what the Cleveland Browns didn't do in my blog last night. But today, as a football guy, I want to talk about what the Kansas City Chiefs did do to win that football game. Because they showed you what it takes to be a champion. And then if the Cleveland Browns want to get to where the Kansas City Chiefs are right now, they have to recognize and understand where the Chiefs are and take note as what they had to do to get there. When you look at Andy Reid and you look at his 4 times with the Philadelphia Eagles going to those NFC Championship games, being one of the most innovative minds, being one of the most innovative people of all time as far as a coach in the offensive X's and O's. He didn't understand that you got to leave it all on the field until he got fired, until he got let go and people thought he couldn't coach no more. Now he's in Kansas City with a kid that probably has one of his best arms and one of his best talent and one of the most talented kids in Patrick Mahomes that's ever to play the game. But one lesson that we could take from Andy Reid and one lesson that we could take from the Kansas City Chiefs is this. Patrick Mahomes didn't win them the game. It was backups. It was Chad Henne who came in. It was Chad Henne who came into that game. And notice, the play calling didn't change for Chad Henne. And I'm going to have to steal this from your boy, Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh. The standard is the standard. The Cleveland Browns did win that game. The Cleveland Browns didn't lose that game. The Kansas City Chiefs took that game. Down after down after down, play after play after play. Pivotal times, they made the plays, you didn't. The Hollywood Higgins dive over the goal line, go back and watch what Kevin Stefanski says. And it's facts. This is why I know you will have a good coach, Cleveland. Browns, this is why I know you got a good coach. You know what he said in the post game? He said, that's why we don't teach that. You know why? Because even though that rule sucks, and that's one of the worst rules of all time in terms of the touchback rule and fumbling out the back of the end zone, because not only do you fumble out the end zone, do you not get the points, but then you turn the ball over to the defense on some arbitrary fumble. But that play, first of all, isn't reviewable. That is what it is. They'll go back and look at it this year. They may change the rule, but that don't help Browns fans today. But Kevin Stefanski said something, and he said, we don't teach that. And the reason we don't teach reaching to the end zone is this. There's no upside to it. You catch that ball, Hollywood Higgins catches it, goes down, bare minimum, it's first and goal at the 1 yard line. We secure possession, and we got 4 cracks at it at the 1 yard line. That's how I know you got a coach. Because not only did he not make it an excuse, he says, no, we don't coach that. There's multiple coaches who would have got on there and said, oh, well, we got cheated. Was it a helmet-to-helmet hit? Yes, it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. Did they miss that call? Yeah, they probably missed that call. But you also have to think about it like this, too. In the rule books, when you are a runner, they don't often call helmet-to-helmet. The reason they don't is because you're not a defenseless player. A runner who is turning and moving and acting towards the goal line is moving in a football move. That is not a defenseless player currently in the rule books. We just need to square that away. Let's not get too far away from what we was talking about. The bottom line is, let's talk about what we learned from the Kansas City Chiefs moving forward. The Kansas City Chiefs did not change their playbook. When Henne came into that game, he not only came into the game when they were out of field goal range, he moved his team into field goal range and got them points. Some would argue that your defensive coordinator didn't do enough to play the downs, distances, and the scouting report to make sure that he couldn't do that. But at the end of the day, we're giving credit to the Chiefs. He did that. Third downs, third and 14. The back-breaking play of the game. 3rd and 14 of a guy who is not a scrambler, has not rushed the ball, not a traditional guy that's out here extending plays. He runs for 13 and a half yards, and then Andy Reid still has faith in him to run a play on 4th and inches with the whole season on the line. That is the mentality of a team that is playing to win 100% of the time. In order to be at that championship level, it's not good enough to play 75% of the time to win. It is 100. That's the standard. If there's anything that we must learn from this game, it is watching on the other side of the field the way that team competes and goes after it compared to what we did. Do you have an opportunity? Yes, you do. to get better from it. But please, please don't be disillusioned. Next year it gets worse. Next year it gets harder. Next year, the Browns aren't the lovable team. Next year, the brown and orange will be on everybody. They creep up on nobody. Baker Mayfield creeps on nobody. The bulletin board material was there. If you thought you didn't have the Pittsburgh Steelers' attention, you got it now. If you didn't have the Baltimore Ravens' attention, you got it now. You don't think them Bengals is going to be better next year? Yes, indeed. Strength of schedule kicks up a little bit. And guess what? It's the great almighty equalizer. Expectations are in the building. So what I want to do is not only I want to congratulate the Kansas City Chiefs, I also want to copy, cut, paste, do whatever I need to do to get to where they at. Because yes, I'm happy that we are where we are. But like I've said, the difference between me and other bloggers, and the difference between me and other media members, and the difference between me and other fans, and the difference between me and other people walking the street, is the difference between me and them is I don't care about nothing else except that trophy. I need millions of other people that feel exactly the way I do. I love the fact that the Browns are in the playoffs, but I need you to have a burning desire more for that trophy than to be accepted. I need that trophy to be your mind state, not content. Because I tell you what, as fun as it was watching the Browns beat the Steelers, it was a terrible feeling knowing we left plays on that field against the Kansas City Chiefs, and I wanted one more play. I wanted one more drive. I wanted one more shot. Browns 2021, I can't wait to get started fast enough. They got a lot of work to do, starting with that defense. Coming up, we're not gonna stop either. This channel is gonna be the voice of real talk. This channel will be the voice of real talk, real football. We ain't going nowhere in the offseason. We will continue to deliver content. We will continue to tell the truth on this channel. And I don't know what other people's brainstorming is. I don't know what other people's marketing is or whatever they may do. But this channel will be about telling the truth. And we got work to do. The Cleveland Browns have work to do defensively. The Cleveland Browns have work to do with their mentality. We need acquisitions. We need to talk about a lot of things. And guess what? We got a whole lot to do it. So if you're going to rock with me and you're rocking with the barbershop, don't stop now. Don't stop now. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and keep rocking with the real. Because right now, I'm hungry. That just got my appetite wet. That just really got me going. Because now is where we get better. Now is where we figure out what we're going to do as a team, as a unit. Because I'm going to tell you what, it don't get no easier. Josh Allen, young boy. Patrick Mahomes, young boy. Lamar Jackson, young boy. Joe Burrow, young boy. Trevor Lawrence is coming to your division. Justin Fields might be in your division. Shall I keep going? Shall I keep talking that talk? Justin Herbert's in your division in the AFC. Young boy after young boy after young boy. It don't get no easier. So let's get it ready and let's get it going. Because the Cleveland Browns, yeah, we happy, but we ain't content. As always, it's the barbershop. Hit that like and hit the subscribe.